We are streaming.
Yep.
Of course, because, you know, streaming. Streaming.
Because stream.
Because streams.
Yes.
Oh, God. That's so funny.
What's that?
Nothing. Not the chicken elevator. Something about Eli Manning must have, during one of his shows or something, he double birded something and now he's in trouble. I don't know. It is what
Okay,
it is.
cool.
Sure. Yo, we got a lot
Excellent.
for you guys on one of our first night shows. We are with you guys because it's important to be with you and do this. It's chilly out tonight, by the way. Chilly. It's cool. I'm going to say 15 seconds,
nice.
by the way. Why not?
It is nice.
Yeah. 10
I'm
seconds.
enjoying it.
Actually, whoa, wait a second. I don't
What's
know,
that?
chat. I'm gonna delay that. I'm gonna say 5 seconds. 4,
Okay.
3, 2. Hi, everybody, and welcome. It is Mike and Corey with you here again. Not your average show 93. And we are here. I'm waiting for chat. Chat didn't launch.
Waiting for chat.
Chat did not launch when it was supposed to launch. Anyhow, we are here.
Come on.
It's a night show. Yeah, it's about 8:30. That's probably going to be around the time that we start doing night shows now. We're going to move to a night schedule. And first thing I like to say is, hey, Corey, what's going on, man?
What is up? How's it going, man? How's the Monday treating
It's
you?
a Monday.
It's a Monday.
Do you have a case of the Mondays?
Every Monday.
Yeah. The first thing, I guess, top of the order is 420. We have reached 420 subscribers. The growth has been exponential at this point. Thank you so much for those of you that have discovered us. We hope we don't disappoint with our content, number one. Number two.
Claudio!
Yeah. What'd you say?
Claudio's in chat.
Oh, yeah. Hey, what's going on, Claudio? I haven't seen you in a while, bro. Hey. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. We're excited there, number one. Number two, this is the show. This is nighttime. This is where we're gonna be. We don't know what nights exactly yet, so this is the first. We haven't even actually. Okay, I can't lie. Corey and I haven't even really discussed what nights we're actually gonna be doing this yet. So we have to have that conversation. So and then lastly, hey man, how are you?
Yeah. I'm doing well. Yeah, like Mike said, there's just a few things going on in our lives, and so we're trying to figure this out, just like you guys. But when we figure out what days, it'll probably like you mentioned, probably some evening shows, versus our daytime shows. So we'll just have to figure out the schedule. What days actually?
Yeah.
So yeah. Yep.
So and without going into too much detail, one of the reasons for the shift is I have taken on work that now kind of moved me to a night schedule. So there's that. And that's other stuff that's going on there. So wait, we got a comment there from Claudio, which we'll have to address. Great, busy working. Hope to catch this thing when it comes down. Do you have the trajectory for this? Oh,
you talking about the the SpaceX thing?
It's coming back tonight, right?
They were supposed to undock, yeah.
But is it landing? It's not landing in the water tonight, though. They're doing a night recovery in the water. That's the one part I wasn't really sure about. Hold on.
Well, they were already delayed because the toilet broke.
Yeah, I know that.
but
that one I saw.
It looks like, it's coming back around 10:30.
10:30. Where? Off the coast of Pensacola.
Here, I'm checking it now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, man, they're going to do it at night. That's bold. So we won't get the sonic booms here today. Oh, that's sad. Oh, well. But that's cool. Off the coast of Pensacola. Sweet.
Pepsi can. Yep, off the coast of Pepsi can.
What was that?
The armpit of Florida, people. The armpit of Florida.
Now, people are going to take that as being derogatory. And right now,
That's
out of our
hey, I live there. It's cool. It's all good.
out of our 420
Pensacola
subscribers,
is awesome.
one guy just went, "I'm done with this," and he's checked out. And now we're 419. I hope you're happy.
No.
I hope you're happy.
I love Pensacola.
All right,
Pensacola is awesome.
All right, sure.
Sure.
What do we got to
Yeah.
talk to you guys about tonight? So, number one is we were going to bring this one up last week, but Wright Aviation obviously has a very oddly powered 100-seat airliner that we really need to talk about because they've done some dynamics on stuff, so we have to talk about it. Corey's going to bring that one up.
Sure.
Also,
Yep.
going to bring up the Rivian IPO. There's people out there that are saying it's going to happen. They got tons of cash. They are delivering vehicles, and that could be a possibility. And then lastly, we've looked at Archer and their EV toll solution for what they see in the urban air mobility marketplace. And, well, Wisk and Archer have, you just have to see this to believe it kind of thing. You know, it's kind of weird. So, I think we did discuss the order this time before we started. We did. And this time, Corey is going to lead off with arguably what is probably one, I think this is probably one of the more technical conversations and discussion of fuel versus range versus role in an aircraft. So I think that's pretty cool.
Right.
But that's what captures the imagination, this one. So without further ado, I shall turn it over to Corey, and he shall bring you this information on Wright Aircraft.
Excellent. Hey, so yeah, this next one, this first topic we're talking about here is from New Atlas, and it talks about, it basically just says, Wright proposes a 100-seat electric airliner powered by aluminum, or aluminium for all the people who would rather hear it pronounced.
Yeah, you're getting a, hold on. You're getting
told,
a tap.
Yeah.
You're getting a tap on your microphone.
Okay.
We're gonna have to restart that one. No, that's better. Okay, yeah, no, it was definitely, you could hear the springs going. I heard like the boom, boom. It sounded like you were on a submarine. I don't know. You could just hear it. All right, start again.
Okay.
Yeah,
backtrack. Take two.
And go. Scene and scene. Go.
Okay, fine. All right. Here you go. So this next topic comes to us from New Atlas, and it just says Wright proposes a 100-seat electric airliner powered by aluminum, and then I wanted to say aluminium for everybody out there who would rather me say it that way. So I know I've been corrected in the past for saying it improperly or not properly, not proper English. But there you go. So basically, what's the synopsis here? So basically, you probably got it up there on the screen. But it's a U.S.-based company, Wright Electric. They do a bunch of other things. We'll get into that too. But they've proposed and are announcing a 100-seat electric short-hop aircraft. It's based on the BAE 146. So another aircraft, but a fossil fuel aircraft. They're proposing they are going to kind of retrofit this and have it be powered by hydrogen or a hybrid fossil fuel hydrogen kind of makeup, or this thing called an aluminum fuel cell. So we haven't talked about aluminum fuel cells on the channel before, so I'll go into that a little bit too. But the main takeaway there is looking at either hydrogen, which we've talked about a bit before, for cars, land-based vehicles, and some of the benefits there. You know, we talked about infrastructure for hydrogen and everything there, but looking at things like aviation, obviously are a bit more still focused with weight on the ground, but still quite focused on, you know, how much weight you got to carry your fuels around. And that's definitely something to talk about for aviation, especially. So the main idea here is that if you're looking at hydrogen compared to like just jet fuel, hydrogen takes up a lot more space. The energy stored in the specific heat of hydrogen is pretty good compared to aluminum or aluminium, and also fossil fuels or jet fuel as it would be. But yeah, it's just it takes up so much more volume. So it's not quite what they are looking for. So they are thinking about this aluminum fuel cell. And so the main, I guess, thing to maybe talk about that is looking at it. What is an aluminum fuel cell? And it's kind of like so it's not so much in the same sense as like a battery, as it is more like a fuel cell. Like we talked about hydrogen fuel cells in the past, and in the sense that when you use a hydrogen fuel cell, it uses up the fuel of hydrogen as it being the fuel, and then you need to refuel it. similarly to like, your fossil fuel vehicles. Whereas, obviously your battery, like your Teslas and whatnot, anything uses lithium ions, it's a battery, right? Batteries. You use them and then you just plug them in, charge them,
Right.
boom.
So this one's actually consuming. It's consuming the actual aluminum, right?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, the aluminium fuel cells, in this case, and I have a few links down there if you guys are a bit interested more on the technical side of how this exactly works. And it is interesting to check out. But there's two more links down there to check that out. But basically, the idea here is that they can get still pretty good energy density or specific energy density out of the aluminium without having to do quite so much of the volume. It's better volume, obviously, than hydrogen. So that's one of the reasons they're looking at this. They are leveraging the company, Wright Electric. They're leveraging a lot of their previous expertise. They do a lot of other things, electrically based components. So they're bringing kind of the expertise, the electrical side of the development, while they also work on this aluminium fuel cell. So it is pretty interesting, actually, to go through here and see their timeline.
I don't have the timeline up. No,
up on your screen.
I don't.
I'll get it for you. Okay, cool. So technology, they're working already on their motor and inverter development. The things they're already kind of doing. That's 2021. Next year, they're looking at their propulsion fan development. So actually, the propulsion unit. And then 2023, that's their first test of the aircraft itself with 3 engines using traditional fuels, fossil fuels, with 1 engine being the fully electric version of their test bed. So one engine. 2024, they go to 2 engines. 2025, all 4 engines on the airframe, and then 2026 they foresee bringing it to service. They have a lot of their, just so you guys are kind of thinking like, where's it going to go? If this does become a thing, it's looking like they're going to be operating out of Europe for a while, out of the UK, or specifically out of London, it looks like. That's where they have all their distances calculated. And again, it's a short haul. So I'll just say one more thing, then I'll pass it over to you. But so where does this kind of fit in aviation? Hydrogen, greener fuels versus traditional fuels, then versus aluminum or aluminium fuel cell. And the idea that they are basically saying is longer haul flights where the volume and the volume of hydrogen you would need to take versus the weight you need to take, it kind of balances out and is a bit more efficient for long haul flights, hydrogen. But these short haul flights, they are saying basically they're what they've calculated, and you can see in the article down there. They're basically saying they're getting about 1% better efficiency with on their short haul flights with this aluminum or aluminium fuel cell. So yeah, what do you think?
So first off, and here's the reason why Corey delivered that is because that is a complex business case on density versus duration or range versus fuel burn versus efficiency. Okay. And volume. So, and what it really takes in those fuel tanks and how much space you literally get out of the aircraft, right? So there's another manufacturer, Embraer, is redesigning one of their aircraft to use hydrogen, and they say that they're putting the engines in the tail because they anticipate that hydrogen will be for longer haul flights, that it's probably going to be more beneficial to start using hydrogen, right? But this one, what really captured the imagination, so to speak, is you wouldn't think that an aluminum fuel cell would be based off of basically density per pound almost of what you're getting out of this fuel cell, right? So here's the deal, and they have it right here: the volumetric energy density, 23,277.9 versus hydrogen, which is only 2,358. That's looking at what, 10 times, right? Literally 10 times, and that's where this really comes into play. So I guess this parlays itself into why did the aviation switch to high bypass engines when they actually transferred from jets? So they went from jets, and then they went to turbofans, and then they went to turboprops, and now they went to high bypass turbofan engines. And it's always been about efficiency. And in the potential routes that they're talking about to take 100 people into some of these locales, right? And the locales also that they're looking at, they would want to exploit, say, a New York to Boston, a New York to Washington. So to give it relative towards other people understanding the marketplace, like also Atlanta to Orlando. Okay, these are lucrative routes that, if given a 1% savings over time, that's how they're going to recoup their investment. Because if you keep operating a flight over and over and over again, and let's face it, some aircraft stay in service for upwards of 20 years, okay?
Yeah, a long time
Over
depends, yeah.
time, on a daily per flight per day basis, you're saving 1% every day. That's 365% a year. And now you can go into your law of averages over 10 years, right? That's where the beauty of this plan comes in. But they've got to, it's got to work. It's really got to work. And so, brilliant plan. The problem that I see, there's only one problem that I see. You have a long-term, development plan that really needs to see that the aluminum cell technology grows at the same rate so it could be easily accessible to airport infrastructure. That's it.
Right.
That's the only thing I see that they've got to bring along with this aircraft, is that not every gate and not every airport is going to be able to service this. So you're going to at first have a very limited market. But after that, I see the potential being amazing. So.
Yeah, and actually, just talking last thing about that too, the infrastructure you just mentioned, that's something worthwhile just to have 2-second conversation on, because as we mentioned with other things, cars and obviously in this case aviation as well, the infrastructure of getting, let's say in this case, hydrogen to the airport, there are some things that need to be done there, right? It's not as easy and as in place as obviously jet fuel, because of course we're doing jet fuel now, so it's just something new. But that was one thing also that Wright proposed and was talking about in their article as well, is that the aluminum or aluminium fuel cells, and just to maybe clarify a little bit, the way the fuel cell works, it's more like kind of like a motor or an engine, in the sense that it actually uses up what you put in it. So the aluminum itself kind of acts like the fuel, and the way this is designed, it reacts with the oxygen in the fuel cell itself, and so it's actually using up the aluminum. And that being the case, when the fuel cell is used up enough of its the material in the cell, you have to actually drain that off and then recharge it physically with putting more material in the actual fuel cell. And so that would be the thing that maybe seems a little bit difficult on the face of it, but they've also said that they looked at basically that recharging it is going to be aluminum, and they just have to take it to a smelter and get it resmelted, and then put in whatever form factor they need, and then transport it back to the airport or wherever it's going to be going. And they said basically the level of qualifications for the smelter they need is kind of there already. That infrastructure is kind of there, so they're not too worried about that, actually. So that was one thing that as I was reading this, I was also like, okay, well, same question. Where are you going to get this fuel? And they've already kind of talked about that. So,
interesting. I'd like to see what they do with this in the future. And the other thing, again, that I always lean on as just a closing argument for part of these discussions is look who they have as part of their development team and who they're already in bed with. And to see NASA and quite a few big Honeywell, Department of Energy. Okay, these are people that are not in obviously the U.S. Army. These are not companies that are in the business of usually just throwing money into the air and watching it burn, unless they see that there's a potential there for a sale. So, very, very interesting. It's easy to pass over something like this and go, "Ooh, that sounds weird," but can they really do it? And yes, I think they can, and I think they will. I think they're going to be very successful.
Yep.
So,
yeah, and that's actually, and lastly, this isn't, if you're not familiar with aluminium battery or fuel cells, they're actually being used in a lot of military projects already. That one of the third article, it's one of the articles down there below, where it talks about exactly kind of the use case for aluminum batteries or fuel cells in EVs. It also mentions through what they're already, some of the things they're already using them in. And so it's something they would just take some obviously some thought, some investment to get it into aircraft. So it's not where you may not have dealt with aluminum battery fuel cells like in your own personal life. They are already out there. The tech is already
they're not, but not in our hands. Totally, not in our hands.
Yeah. Not for let's say general consumer use.
All right. So cool. Hope everybody got something out of that one. So.
So yeah, thanks so much for that. We're going to follow this. It's quite interesting. A little bit of a longer term project, at least for Wright aircraft, but I'll be looking at maybe aluminum fuel cells and see where else we can maybe find some information about that too. So please like, share, subscribe. Thanks so much for all the support lately. We're making some progress over the last few weeks, so thank you for that. And remember to hit that bell down there to be notified of our new show times, and maybe ask us some questions on the show.
There you
Thanks so
go.
much.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that. And again, really cool technology. I can't wait to see what they're going to do with it because that sounds to me to be really profitable. Okay, talking about profits, Corey found this one, and this one's all about Rivian. My bad, Rivian. Okay, let's start that over again. Rivian. So, starting over, Rivian might IPO. There is the potential for the company that has delivered what is, in all intents and purposes, probably the first commercially available electric pickup truck and delivered it handily to customers and is impressing all the way around. They're considering an IPO, and this one is from PitchBook, okay, of all places, and they're going through what is basically their road to IPO and how they're going to get there. And there's some really, really interesting information on this, and I'm just going to cut to it because this is amazing. I didn't know that they had such a war chest, okay? These guys have raised $11.15 billion in private capital. They've got a valuation in the market right now, $27.6 billion, because the truck market and SUV market are so good that they see that this combination of truck and electric and SUV and electric as being on par with what can make a lot of money. Funds sought for the IPO might be upwards of $9.8 billion. The market cap, after they're fully diluted, would be $70.6 billion. And they're thinking about an introductory price range of anywhere from 70 to 74. Now, this could be the makings of the next Tesla. Okay, this company has entered a place where Tesla is not competitive right now. They don't have the amount of sales that they've already, or pre-sales that Tesla has for their Cybertruck, but they've got a deliverable product right now. What's your feelings there, man? Do you think these guys are going to pull it off, and are they going to go public?
I've been following this for a few weeks now, obviously, and I think they probably are. I'm certainly no expert in investing in this kind of thing, but I think they probably are. I mean, we do know that if you look down a bit, you can also see the biggest backers of Rivian at the moment, pre-IPO, of course, is our buddies, good old Amazon. I know they're on this show often. We usually are talking about the Blue Origin. But obviously, Amazon is in with Rivian as well. And if you've seen any of the Blue Origin launches, you'll see that they take their, Mike would say, pastronauts out to the pad in the good old Rivian R1T. And it is a nice looking truck. And as Mike said, we've seen a lot of reviews of the truck. It's already getting into people's hands, being delivered. It's an actual product. It's not vaporware, as we sometimes try to find out stuff that's not going to make it to market. And certainly Rivian's already there. They're already doing it. And it is a nice product. Many of the reviews we've seen say that the truck itself is quite a nice product, as far as even comparing it to the off-road, what was it? The TRX. I think they were one. Yeah. So it's definitely, I don't see why it shouldn't really work.
Well, I mean, look, Amazon.
So, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
And I'd be keeping, if you're looking to invest, you're probably already tracking this, but yeah, it's probably going to be soon.
I would imagine so. And Amazon has placed a commercial order for 100,000 units. That's basically what Amazon has thrown in there as far as their amount of money that they've thrown behind it. And they do see this as being successful. Claudio mentions in here a quick question for us. What about apples to apples, Rivian versus the Ford F-150 electric? Look, there's a number of YouTubers out there, and there's one guy in particular that has been in all three of these. You can go look it up. I forget the name of the gentleman. Corey sent me the video. I watched it last week.
Ben Sullivan.
Yeah, I think it was maybe Ben Sullivan. Was that the one? Maybe we'll throw a link in the below. Yeah. But the thing is, he went through on each one and said that basically they break down, and I can see this and I understand that the F-150 is the utilitarian of the marketplace. The Rivian is squarely aimed at the people that are going to be adventure seekers, and the Cybertruck is squarely aimed at status symbols and those who just want, a Tesla branded truck.
Yeah, technophiles, right? Tesla people, yeah. And I think that's exactly it. Yeah, the Rivian is definitely a deliverable product for the more of the adventure seekers, outdoorsy types. We've mentioned too a lot of times the definite advantage of Tesla in any kind of sphere so far is its supercharger network, and they're really leading the charging network anywhere. The Electrify America, which is what Ford is trying to use, A lot of the reviews we've seen, I mean, when you find a charger that works, great, it works perfect. But the upkeep of the chargers and the quality of the chargers is just not on par. You just don't have the information. There's obviously apps you can get that help you, but still, you may arrive at the charger and it just
Right.
doesn't work for whatever reason. It was broken. And so, but going back to that, Rivian, they are installing a lot of their chargers at like places you want to go to use your truck, a little more off the beaten path in national parks. And that's definitely has some, caters a bit more towards the explorer types. And it is, like I said, it's a pretty nice
So
product.
look, Rivian's got the market, no offense on this one in particular right now, cornered because they are the truck. They are available right now. The performance variations that they have, right, put them nearly on par with the tri-motor Cybertruck, right? They do have everything going for them as far as they've gotten nothing but glowing press reviews at this point. Okay?
True.
Yeah, and I don't see them as being stopped. And look, $70 a share sounds about right for me. Where could that go? 2 years from now, if Tesla doesn't have a successful launch of the Cybertruck yet, this stock could be massive. I mean, huge in that potential. And who knows how many people might buy out of their Tesla contracts. There's 2 million orders for that thing already. Pre-orders. Who knows who might dump out of that one and say, you know what, I'm done waiting. There's a good looking truck over there and I'm going to go buy it.
Right.
And then there's Canoe. So and there's Canoe.
There's Canoe.
So there's one more.
Canoe.
I don't know.
It's getting pretty interesting in the truck market, and I think Mike hit it really on the head as far as answering your question, Claudio. That Rivian is in the market now, and the F-150 is just not here yet. And we've heard about some issues with what was it? Some of the components we were reading. We heard about some components with the F-150 too. And so it's it's a bit more like if you're like American trucks, you like F-150s, then you'll like the Lightning because it's an electric F-150. The Rivian is kind of trying to cater to a different segment. The more adventure, maybe possibly the younger types. I mean, maybe a little bit of a generalization there, but if you want to like use your truck for work and in short range capacity with some hauling, your F-150 is probably perfect for you, right? But then again, if you want the obviously, if you want to be have the latest and greatest Tesla whatever, or you want as many bells and whistles as you can possibly get, then you're still looking for the Cybertruck. But I can't disagree at all when you say, when is Cybertruck? I don't know.
Who knows?
2 years out, maybe. I mean, there's tons of pre-orders, but it doesn't really matter when you've already got trucks running around on the street and electric Rivian is here already. So,
all right, let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share, and let us know what you think. If you obviously Rivian's IPO is going to be massive. It's going to be big news. If they decide to do it, great. But on the second part, we've had this conversation before. This is hotly contested market, massive amount of sales up for grabs. We sell more trucks in this country than anything else. There's no reason not to think that Rivian couldn't make a ton of cash. Let us know what you think in the comments below. And
they're hitting it.
It'd be great. Okay, to wrap that one up. All right, the last one is, I know this is weird. Okay, so don't anybody flip out, but I'm going to handle the last one too, because this one's a little bit more of an open discussion on something that, well, I'm going to say a picture's worth 1,000 words. Okay, and that's all I'm going to say. And here's what I'm going to show you is a picture. The picture is of Wisk and their January 2020 patent application and Archer's design for their eVTOL aircraft. Problem. When I took a look at this, and this one came from actually eVTOL News, the fact that I kind of passed up on this a couple times because I wasn't really sure where this would go, because there has been some situation here where Wisk actually sued Archer. Okay, they sued them, and then they basically lost that lawsuit. They were saying that one of their employees walked out the door with a whole bunch of files, and they accused him of actually just going over and walking over to Archer, and then Archer suddenly had this development that was blocked. Now Archer is going back and they're suing Wisk. Okay, this is from TechCrunch. Okay, and they're seeking $1 billion from Wisk Aero, saying that basically they came out with their lawsuit at a time that was very critical for Archer, and Archer lost almost $1 billion in SPAC funds as a result of the bad press. Corey, if I was going to show you these two pictures side by side and say, hey, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, do you think there's any similarities there that maybe just, I don't know, are just way too similar? What would you say?
Having not worked for either company and not having anything else to do with this other than, as you just said, Mike, what do I think? They're very similar. I mean, you can't deny that it's got a V-tail. It looks like they've got the same basic, like, well, you mentioned that, okay, one's got skids, one has wheels, okay. But the basic design is very, very similar, and it leads a little bit of credence to the lawsuits. Like I said, it's highly suspicious activity of some multiple employees leaving Wisk, going over to Archer, and then of course the designs end up being quite similar. So we've had a lot of talk about Archer on the channel and some of the deals they've made and how they are making some progress in the market, but bad press is not good press, and the lawsuits are just flying all over the place with these two guys. So I mean, we'll, again, like Mike said, we'll keep track of it, and if there's anything like significant to develop, we can talk about it. But
see here,
it's never good. I mean, it's nothing. I mean, losing intellectual property to different companies. Didn't we say that we've seen this with Tesla multiple times, multiple companies, and it's a very hot market in every sense of the way, whether it's on the ground or in the air. EVs, electric vehicles, and any type. I mean, there's just a lot going on, and so it's a lot of money to be grabbed.
So here's the thing:
so people are doing
$1 billion up for grabs, right? $1 billion in this marketplace is a lot of money. But when you take these two and you put them side by side, one could argue that, okay, they arrived at the point where this is probably the best solution for an eVTOL aircraft, and it just happens to be that the design is very similar. Although we have stated on this show that we have found that there are other manufacturers that have very similar designs, and it's aerodynamics and the laws of aerodynamics just happen to cater to that, right?
Right.
But I will say this. If I take an Airbus City Bus and compare it to, say, the Bell Nexus or some other manufacturers out there, or the Embraer version of their aircraft, they have some massive differences. Massive. So to have two relative small startups to have such similar designs and have arrived at them nearly identical times is oddly suspicious. Very suspicious, right? Because others will find their different idiosyncrasies where they find their technologies have been better used because they have massive development cycles, and this seems to be the flow of their technology. We've said before, the bigger players will always have a little bit more of an edge because they've got billions of dollars to throw behind development, where startups don't. I happen to think that it's way too similar. That's just me. I could be completely wrong, right? Maybe there's a legitimacy, and then somebody said, no, they didn't use their documents. But man, looks like a duck, walks like a duck, talks like a duck. That doesn't make it a dog. That usually makes it a duck.
Yeah, I mean, I know some of the other designs, at least Wisk, I'm talking about Wisk now. Some of the other designs, like the one on their main website right now, does have some modifications that make it slightly different. I mean, like the tail is a little bit different, but nevertheless, like you said, I mean, maybe there's some shisty stuff going on to try to just maybe hurt them publicly, but if, like I said, maybe if somebody says something's going on and somebody left and it sounds a bit strange that, hey, that guy left with some documents, I think he left with some stuff, and now they've got the same kind of stuff. I mean, stranger things have happened. This is wouldn't be unheard of for somebody to walk off with some IP and just casually drop it off at their
No, I mean that's obvious. I mean, at that level. But here's the other thing, right? You look at Archer, and Archer is the type of company right now that strikes me as having that clean presentation, that very smooth aesthetic. All the wrinkles seem to have been worked out already, right? And they're very pretty, and their functionality seems to be exceptional. But the problem is they don't have a, I would say, a massive test bed of information or videos of it flying around and doing the yeoman's work in aviation. And when I see something like on the Swiss aircraft, and they actually are showing this thing actually being airborne, they're actually showing it, doing some of the work that it needs to do. I tend to have a belief that those people, and they have multiple prototypes, it looks like. It seems to me like they've done their homework, right? So, you could polish something very, very much and, make a great presentation, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're authentic or genuine or that it's your product. Corey's could state it better and better, I mean, than the fact that there's been plenty of corporate espionage on well thought out ideas for decades, and this just could be a more modern version of corporate espionage and information being shifted across the table. So also Claudio chimed in here. From a designer's point of view, it just looks like one design tweaks, the other one just looks slightly different. Right? Yeah. Right. Slightly different. I mean, I don't know how many patent judges out there, when this goes into a court, and how many guys know anything about aerodynamics, or how much they have to prove their case, whatever the situation may be, to actually prove that this happened. But man, one could make the argument that an Airbus doesn't look, much different from a 737. But the fact of the matter is that Boeing aircraft had been around for a long time, and all you had to do was look out the window and go, well, that design works. Hey.
Yeah.
Or criticize me in comments below. Let me know. I mean, what do you I mean, where do I stand? Am I off base? Am I on base here or no?
No. It's hard to. Obviously, they're still in litigation. There's still stuff going on with these lawsuits. But there was a valid point you made a little bit earlier that aerodynamics do lend itself to have, in a way, sometimes the sleekest design that kind of looks the coolest or the sexiest usually is pretty
Right.
aerodynamic, and that's not. I'm extremely generalizing that, and that's obviously not nothing technical about that. But these two designs, if you were to say, okay, let's have like a design where there's like, it's kind of like a plane, but then we're going to use smaller props for efficiency, but we're going to have, it'll be electric as well. Then we need some stability for the tail, so let's throw like this kind of shorter tail on there, so the CG is kind of, it's easy to yaw a little bit, and then you end up with something kind of similar like that. Yeah, but again, I still can't disregard when they say there was some talk of suspicious activity between employees, and then bam,
nope,
the designs look the same. So maybe it is what it is. We'll see. But yeah, we'll keep tracking for you guys.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much. That's our time for tonight. Hey, do us a favor. Like, subscribe, follow. Let us know what you think in the comments below. And as always, if there's any information that you guys want to share with us or something you want us to follow, leave a comment below. We'll be more than happy to take a look at it here on the show. And we'll bring you the best and latest and greatest in information that we can over the next couple of weeks leading up to the holidays. And yeah, there's also might be a small surprise of an announcement of maybe a vehicle coming up in the future. So we'll see.
Yes. That
could be really cool. So like, subscribe, follow, and that's it. That's all we got time for tonight.
Yep.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. Claudio, thanks again for showing up, bro. We appreciate it. And have a good night, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace. Later. Bye.
Take it easy. Bye.
I'm gonna have some peanut butters and apples.
Peanut butter
and apples.
I do have some bananas. Bananas are good.
All right, good night, everybody. We'll catch you soon. Take care. Peace. Night. Bye.